Top 10 bioweapons the world was never supposed to know about. They're invisible, unpredictable, and devastating. Unlike bullets or bombs, bioweapons don't need an army to strike. A single vial, a single strain, or a single droplet can unleash a nightmare on populations, crippling nations, silencing enemies, and reshaping history. For decades, some of the world's most powerful governments have secretly developed and tested biological weapons, deadly viruses, genetically modified bacteria, and weaponized pathogens. These were never meant to be seen by the public, never meant to be acknowledged. And yet, through declassified files, defectors, and whistleblowers, the truth is slowly emerging. Biological warfare is the dark art of turning life itself into a weapon. Unlike conventional warfare, it's silent, insidious, and often deniable. With the right strain, a hostile force can infect food, water, or air, causing panic, disease, and death before anyone even realizes they've been attacked. Throughout the 20th century and beyond, countries have conducted experiments, built laboratories, and violated treaties in pursuit of the ultimate biological weapon. Many of these programs were buried under layers of secrecy. But as documents are declassified and insiders speak out, these hidden horrors are finally coming to light. In this video, we reveal the top 10 bioweapons the world was never supposed to know about. These are the pathogens, programs, and plans that were meant to remain in the shadows until now. Number #10, Operation Vegetarian, Britain's plan to starve Germany. During World War II, Britain developed Operation Vegetarian, a covert plan to drop linseed cakes infected with anthrax across German pastures. The goal? Kill livestock, disrupt food supplies, and starve the population. Thousands of anthrax-laced cakes were produced and ready for deployment in 1944. The operation was never carried out, as the war ended before it was needed. But tests on Grumman Island in Scotland prove how lethal the plan could be. The island remained contaminated for decades and was only declared safe in 1990. The full details of the operation were kept secret for years, highlighting just how far nations were willing to go, even targeting food chains as a weapon of war. Number #9, the Soviet Union's weaponized smallpox. Smallpox was eradicated globally by 1980, but the Soviet Union secretly continued its research and weaponization long after the world celebrated its defeat. At its peak, the Soviet bioweapons program employed tens of thousands of scientists. They created a version of weaponized smallpox that was resistant to existing vaccines and capable of mass destruction. One outbreak in 1971 in Uralsk, Kazakhstan, was traced back to a Soviet testing site. It was quickly covered up, but reports confirm at least 10 infections and 3 deaths. The full scale of the program wasn't revealed until defectors like Dr. Ken Alibek exposed the Soviet Union's extensive biological arsenal in the 1990s. Number #8, Unit 731, Japan's Human Experimentation Lab. During World War II, Japan operated Unit 731, a covert facility in Manchuria responsible for some of the most horrific biological experiments in history. Thousands of prisoners, Chinese civilians, Russian captives, and others, were deliberately infected with plague, cholera, anthrax, and typhus. Vivisections were performed without anesthesia. Frostbite tests, poison trials, and germ bomb tests were routine. What makes this even more chilling is that after the war, many of the scientists involved were granted immunity by the United States in exchange for their data. The full details of Unit 731 remain suppressed for decades, and only in recent years have survivors and historians begun to uncover the full horror of what happened inside. Number #7, Project Bakus, America's secret bioweapon lab. In the late 1990s, the U.S. Department of Defense conducted Project Bakus, a covert project to build a bioweapons production facility using only off-the-shelf equipment. The aim was to determine how easily a terrorist group could create biological weapons in secret. The result was chilling. A small, unmarked facility in Nevada successfully produced simulated anthrax. The entire operation cost just $1 million and was hidden from public knowledge until later investigations uncovered its existence. Though labeled a defensive experiment, Project Bakus confirmed a terrifying truth. Bioweapons are not just for nations. With minimal resources, non-state actors could potentially replicate what once required government backing. Number #6, the Spurloss anthrax leak. In 1979, a mysterious outbreak occurred in Spurloss, a city in the Soviet Union. Dozens of people died from anthrax exposure. The Soviet government blamed contaminated meat, but satellite images, defector reports, and autopsy evidence told a different story. It was later revealed that a military bioweapons facility had accidentally released anthrax spores into the air due to a missing air filter. At least 66 people died, though estimates suggest many more. The incident was covered up for over a decade. Only in the early 1990s did Russian President Boris Yeltsin admit the truth. It remains one of the deadliest bioweapons accidents in history. Number #5, Weaponized Ebola. Soviet experiments with filoviruses. Most people think of Ebola as a naturally occurring virus, but during the Cold War, Soviet scientists at the Biopreparate program were secretly experimenting with weaponizing filoviruses like Ebola and Marburg. They discovered that Ebola could be freeze-dried and delivered via aerosol, turning one of the most lethal viruses known to humanity into a potential battlefield weapon. These findings were kept under tight secrecy and only surfaced when Soviet bioweapons expert Dr. Alibek defected. Although their national treaties banned such research, the fact that it was attempted and possibly succeeded shows the dangerous intersection of biotechnology and warfare. Number #4, Fort Detric's secret experiments. Fort Detric, located in Maryland, was the center of the U.S. biological weapons program from World War II through the 1960s. The facility hosted Project Whitecoat, a series of experiments in which human volunteers, mostly military personnel, were exposed to various pathogens including Q fever, tularemia, and Venezuelan equine encephalitis. While some volunteers gave consent, many were not fully informed of the long-term health risks. The facility also worked on offensive weapons like anthrax and botulinum toxin before the U.S. officially ended its bioweapons program in 1969. Documents declassified over the years have shed light on how Fort Detric served as a hub for classified research that often crossed ethical boundaries. Number #3, Project Coast, South Africa's racist bioweapons program. During the apartheid era, South Africa launched Project Coast, a secret bioweapons initiative designed not just for warfare, but for targeted population control. Led by Dr. Wouter Basson, also known as Dr. Death, the program developed drugs, poisons, and pathogens that could be used to sterilize or incapacitate specific groups, including Black South Africans and political opponents. Whistleblowers later revealed that the project sought to create race-specific bioweapons and experimented with anthrax, cholera, and even HIV. Though Basson was never convicted, Project Coast remains one of the most disturbing examples of science weaponized for racial oppression. Number #2, Ryson and the Cold War assassination campaigns. While not a virus or bacterium, Ryson became a preferred bioweapon for Cold War assassinations. Extracted from castor beans, Ryson is deadly in microdoses and nearly impossible to trace. One of the most famous cases involved the assassination of Bulgarian dissident Georgy Markov in 1978. He was stabbed with a ricin-filled pellet from a modified umbrella while walking in London. He died within days, and the weapon was traced to the Bulgarian Secret Service, reportedly with Soviet assistance. This method was later linked to multiple similar cases, showing how biotoxins were used surgically to silence political enemies without leaving a trail. Number #1, Genetically engineered superbugs. Perhaps the most terrifying frontier in biological warfare is the use of genetic engineering to create superbugs, pathogens that are resistant to treatment, enhanced for contagion, or altered to target specific populations. Documents leaked in the 2000s suggested that both the US and other nations explored gene editing tools like CRISPR to enhance existing viruses. While the official purpose was defensive, anticipating future threats, the potential for offensive use is real. Scientists warn that engineered pathogens could evade the immune system, resist all known antibiotics, or be programmed to activate only under specific genetic or environmental conditions. This level of precision makes them almost impossible to detect and even harder to defend against. Biological weapons occupy a unique place in the history of warfare. They are unseen, hard to detect, and often irreversible in their impact. While treaties like the Biological Weapons Convention exist to prevent their use, history shows us that secrecy, ambition, and ideology often override global agreements. From anthrax cakes and plague bombs to gene-edited superbugs, the world has come dangerously close to outbreaks not caused by nature, but by design. The line between science and warfare has blurred, and what we now know is likely only a fraction of what remains classified. If you found this video eye-opening, be sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. We're committed to uncovering the stories that were never meant to be told.